family. This is Miss Joyce, and welcome to another episode of Family Talk, the place where I share ideas and suggestions to help you continue the conversation at home about this week's Bible story. Well, this week, this is Obadiah the prophet, and Obadiah is an Old Testament prophet, and you find a book by that name in the Old Testament. Well, we find in the book that Edom was a nation that came from Jacob's brother Esau. And Edom did not help Judah when enemies attacked them. They kind of sit back and watched. But God would punish Edom for mistreating his people. And God promised to restore Israel and rule the earth as king. Our big picture question for this unit of study is, how is Jesus the perfect prophet? And the answer is that Jesus perfectly reveals God the Father and fulfills what the prophets spoke. Questions that you can ask to help continue the conversation is, where can we read God's message to us today? 2, how do you feel when someone is mean to you? And talk about some good news you have recently heard as a family. Another question, how was Jesus mistreated? And how does knowing Jesus was mistreated to save us from sin help us when people mistreat us? Another question is, when did God promise, or what did God promise to do for people who were mistreated? What did God do to fix our sin problem? Why can we trust God even in hard times? Why does God punish sin? How does God restore people? And who is the king who rules the earth? Some activities this week is to encourage your children to brainstorm ideas of how to show love to family members. One cute idea is that you could work together to create a coupon book of favors they will perform for one another. Another one is to discuss why Edom was a brother nation to Israel and how they should have behaved towards God's people. On a nice day, go outside and use the sidewalk and use sidewalk chalk to write kind messages for people in your community to read. Well, that's it for this week's story. Some additional connections you might be able to make to discuss with your children is service projects. And what could you do as a family? Or helping without being asked to do so. Or random acts of kindness. Well, next week in the lesson, we'll see how God kept his promise to his people, because we're going to finally see Israel and Judah come out of exile and be restored. So listen in, and we hope that you'll tune in with us next week. And bye for now.